respects it. In history, no one has respected it.
Scottie Pippen's
You got Scottie Pippen with 6 rings that's ranked on the all-time list 32. Right? You got people that don't have rings that's in front of them. So what LeBron is saying is like, wait a minute, when did we take away your greatness as a player and use team structured awards? Right? Because then you're only talking about if you get drafted to Boston, Los Angeles, like what, half of the league came from big cities that's in, more than half that's in the top 75.
Tracy McGrady just went off on LeBron James, and the basketball world is absolutely stunned. The legend didn't hold back, calling out what he says is the biggest lie in modern NBA history. In his words, the numbers don't lie. This isn't just another hot take. This is a Hall of Famer putting his reputation on the line to challenge the king himself. What could make T-Mac risk everything to speak out now, and why are fans divided down the middle? Buckle up, because this story goes deeper than anyone expected.
He's been the best basketball player for, God knows how long. But if you put him in one-on-one, I think he'll get crushed.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. I think he'll get crushed amongst guys that are actually in NBA, and I'm sure LeBron will tell you that because his game is naturally built for a 5-on-5. He's not a one-on-one basketball player. Kobe is a one-on-one basketball player. Kyrie is a one-on-one basketball player. James Harden, these guys are one-on-one basketball players. And LeBron can't do anything with that. So I don't know. I just know, we always name the big name guys, but there's some guys out there that you don't think about that really can play one-on-one basketball.
I believe it. The attractive names are Kyrie Irving.
January 2025. The NBA season is in full swing. And as always, the LeBron James debate is alive and well. At 40 years old, the King is still playing at an elite level, still chasing greatness, still dominating headlines. His legacy? Seemingly untouchable. 4 championships, 4 finals MVPs, all-time leading scorer. The resume speaks for itself. But then came a moment nobody saw coming. Tracy McGrady, T-Mac, the 7-time All-Star, the guy who once dropped 13 points in 33 seconds, the scorer who made defenders look silly night after night, decided it was time to speak his truth. And when T-Mac talks basketball, people listen. This is a man who battled through injuries, faced elimination games with ice in his veins, and competed against the absolute best the league had to offer during one of its most competitive eras. He's not some casual analyst throwing out hot takes for clicks. He's lived it. He's earned his voice. So when rumors started swirling about T-Mac making some controversial comments in a recent private conversation that leaked online, fans immediately paid attention. What could Tracy McGrady possibly say that would shake the basketball world? What truth bomb was he sitting on? The answer? It was about LeBron, and it wasn't pretty. Now, before we dive into what T-Mac allegedly said, let's set the stage. LeBron's legacy has been carefully constructed over 2 decades. The chosen one, King James, the guy who came back from 3-1 down to beat the greatest regular season team ever, the man who delivered Cleveland its first championship in over 50 years. On paper, the story is perfect, but T-Mac was about to challenge the narrative in a way that would split the entire basketball community right down the middle. And once those words hit the internet, there was no allegedly went down. According to multiple sources close to the situation, Tracy McGrady was in a heated discussion about the GOAT debate, greatest of all time, when he made a statement that immediately went viral. The topic? LeBron's claim to the throne over Michael Jordan. And T-Mac didn't mince words. The biggest lie in basketball, he reportedly said, is that LeBron is better than Jordan because of longevity and numbers. The numbers don't lie, but context does. And when you actually break it down, the story changes completely. Boom. Just like that, the internet exploded. Within hours, the clip, allegedly recorded by someone in the room, was everywhere. Twitter was on fire. Instagram comment sections turned into war zones. YouTube channels scrambled to react. This wasn't just another retired player giving his opinion. This was Tracy McGrady, a player who overlapped with both eras, calling out what he believed was a fundamental deception in how we talk about LeBron's greatness. But here's where it gets interesting. T-Mac didn't stop there. He went on to break down his argument with surgical precision, pointing to specific statistics, specific moments, specific narratives that he believes have been twisted to favor LeBron's legacy. He talked about finals records. He talked about competition levels. He talked about the super team era and how it changed everything. Look, he allegedly continued, I have nothing but respect for Bron. He's an all-time great, no question. But when people say he's the GOAT because he has more total points, more total assists, more total whatever, that's not how greatness works. That's like saying the player who played the longest is automatically the best. It's not true. The numbers don't lie, but they don't tell the whole story either. And just like that, the entire basketball world had to pick a side. Were you Team T-Mac, believing that LeBron's legacy has been inflated by media narratives and longevity arguments that don't hold up under scrutiny? Or were you Team LeBron, thinking that T-Mac was just another bitter ex-player who couldn't handle someone else's greatness? The battle lines were drawn, and honestly, neither side was backing down.
But here's the deal, what I said. Well, here's the reasoning, okay? I'm looking at Jordan, a 10-time scoring champion. I'm looking at Jordan, a 9-time all-first-team NBA player. First team. I'm also looking at a 6-time champion, 6 NBA Finals MVPs, never allowed one single championship series to get to a Game 7. Not only do I have that, to bring up Michael Jordan, but also first team all defense. I already said it 9 times.
Well, that's back when he played defense.
All right, you got.
So let's break down T-Mac's argument. Because whether you agree with him or not, he's raising some legitimate points that deserve consideration. First, the finals record. LeBron is 4-6 in the finals. Jordan, 6-0. Now, LeBron fans will immediately say, but making the finals is harder than winning them. Getting there 10 times is more impressive than getting there 6 times. And sure, on the surface, that makes sense. But here's T-Mac's counter. If we're judging greatness by finals appearances instead of finals wins, then we're basically rewarding someone for losing. That's not how competition works. Jordan never lost when it mattered most. That's not luck, that's dominance. And the stats back him up in some ways. Jordan's finals averages? Absolutely insane. 6 finals MVPs in 6 appearances. LeBron has 4 finals MVPs in 10 appearances. The efficiency argument tilts toward Jordan when you isolate those championship moments. Second, the competition factor. T-Mac's camp argues that LeBron played in a significantly weaker Eastern Conference for most of his prime. From 2011 to 2018, the path to the finals in the East was, let's be honest, not exactly a gauntlet. Meanwhile, Jordan had to go through the bad boy Pistons, the Reggie Miller Pacers, the Patrick Ewing Knicks, absolute wars every single playoffs. LeBron made 8 straight finals, T-Mac's argument goes. But who was he really beating in the East during those years? The competition wasn't there. Jordan had to earn every single trip. Third, the super team narrative. And this is where things get really spicy. LeBron joined forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh in Miami. Then he went back to Cleveland and played with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Then he joined Anthony Davis in Los Angeles. T-Mac's point? Jordan built a dynasty. LeBron joined ready-made contenders or created them by stacking the deck. Now, is that fair? Debatable. Jordan played with Scottie Pippen, a top 50 player all time, and had one of the best supporting casts in NBA history during those championship runs. But T-Mac's argument is about perception in narrative, the way LeBron's team hopping has been framed as chasing rings, versus Jordan's loyalty being framed as building a legacy. And finally, the clutch factor. T-Mac points to Jordan's game winners, his cold-blooded mentality, his absolute refusal to lose in the biggest moments. LeBron has had incredible playoff performances, no one denies that, but he's also had some rough moments. The 2011 finals against Dallas, some fourth-quarter disappearances. T-Mac's case is that when we look at peak performance in the absolute highest pressure situations, Jordan edges LeBron out. Numbers don't lie, T-Mac allegedly concluded, but narratives do, and the narrative around LeBron has been carefully crafted to make him look better than he actually is when you compare him to Jordan. That's the lie. Do you see what he's doing here? He's not saying LeBron isn't great. He's saying the way we talk about LeBron's greatness has been exaggerated, manipulated, and sold to a generation that maybe didn't watch Jordan in his prime. And whether you agree or not, it's a compelling argument. Now let's flip the script for a second, because if we're being fair, LeBron's case is just as strong, if not stronger, depending on how you value greatness. LeBron James is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. Not just close, not just top 5, number 1. He passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 2023 and hasn't looked back. He's also in the top 10 all-time in assists, one of the only players ever to be elite in both categories simultaneously. The numbers? They absolutely lie in LeBron's favor if we're talking about sustained, decades-long excellence. Then there's the versatility argument. LeBron has played and defended every position on the floor. He's been a point guard, a power forward, a small forward, whatever his team needed. Jordan was the greatest shooting guard ever, no question, but LeBron's ability to impact the game in multiple ways is unmatched. That's not a lie, that's a fact. And let's talk about longevity. LeBron is 40 years old and still averaging over 20 points per game. He's playing alongside his son, Bronny, making history in the process. Jordan retired at 35, his second time, and then played a couple of seasons with Washington that, let's be real, weren't pretty. LeBron's sustained dominance for over 20 years is unprecedented in NBA history. But here's where T-Mac's criticism cuts deep. LeBron's legacy has been incredibly media-driven. From the moment he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in high school as the chosen one, there's been a machine behind him. Every move, every statement, every statistic has been amplified, analyzed, and spun to support the GOAT narrative. And that's what T-Mac is calling out. Not LeBron's actual skill, but the inflation of his legacy through narrative manipulation. So what's at stake for LeBron here? Everything. If T-Mac's perspective gains traction, it could shift the entire conversation. It could make people reevaluate the blind spots in LeBron's case. It could force a more honest reckoning with his finals losses, his team switching, his legacy-building moves that sometimes feel calculated rather than organic. Jordan never had to defend his greatness. It was just accepted. LeBron, on the other hand, is constantly having to prove it, reprove it, and fight for it in the court of public opinion. And that difference, that might be the most telling statistic of all. The response to T-Mac's alleged comments has been absolutely wild. On one side, you have the LeBron defenders, mostly younger fans, Gen Z, people who grew up watching King James, who are calling T-Mac a hater, a has-been, someone jealous of LeBron's continued relevance. Social media has been brutal. T-Mac couldn't even get out of the first round half his career, and he's talking about LeBron, one viral tweet read. Sit down and let the grown folks talk. Ouch. But on the other side, you have the Jordan loyalists, the older generation, the people who watched basketball in the 90s and early 2000s, and they're rallying behind T-Mac. Finally, someone with a platform is saying what we've all been thinking, one Instagram comment said. LeBron is great, but he's not MJ. Never was, never will be. And in the middle, you have the people who are just exhausted by the GOAT debate altogether. Can we just appreciate both legends without tearing one down? Some fans are asking. But honestly, that's not how sports work. We love debates. We love conflict. We love picking sides and defending them to the death. But here's what's really interesting about this whole situation. It reveals how we evaluate greatness in modern sports. Are we looking at peak performance or sustained longevity? Are we valuing championships or individual excellence? Are we considering context or just raw numbers? T-Mac's argument forces us to confront those questions, because if we say LeBron is the GOAT purely because he has the most points, then we're ignoring defense, clutch performance, competition level, and championship pedigree. But if we say Jordan is the GOAT purely because he's 6-0 in the finals, then we're ignoring the fact that LeBron played in 10 finals and carried some historically weak teams there. There's no clean answer, and that's what makes this so frustrating and so fascinating. What T-Mac has done, intentionally or not, is rip the Band-Aid off a wound that never fully healed. The GOAT debate has always been emotional, but this time it feels different. It feels personal. It feels like something deeper is being questioned, not just LeBron's skill, but the entire infrastructure of how we build and sell legacies in modern sports. And maybe that's the real lie T-Mac is exposing. Not that LeBron isn't great, but that we've stopped asking hard questions because it's easier to accept the narrative we're given. So where does that leave us? Here's the thing. Both T-Mac and LeBron's defenders are right, and both are wrong. Jordan is the greatest winner the NBA has ever seen. His perfect finals record, his clutch gene, his dominance in an era of physical, brutal basketball. It's undeniable. But LeBron's longevity, versatility, and ability to carry teams to the finals year after year is also undeniable. The truth is, comparing players across eras is almost impossible. The game has changed, the rules have changed, the level of athleticism, the defensive schemes, the pace of play, it's all different. Jordan never had to deal with zone defenses the way LeBron did. LeBron never had to deal with hand-checking the way Jordan did. So maybe the real question isn't who's the GOAT, maybe the question is why do we need there to be one? T-Mac's alleged comments, controversial as they are, remind us that greatness is subjective. It's shaped by the era we grew up in, the players we watched, the memories we hold on to. For people who watched Jordan, he'll always be untouchable. For people who grew up with LeBron, he's the standard. And that's okay. But what's not okay is pretending that narratives don't matter, because they do. The way we talk about players shapes how they're remembered. The way media platforms elevate certain stats over others influences the conversation. And if we're being honest, LeBron has benefited from a media machine that Jordan never had. Social media, 24/7 sports coverage, global branding on a scale that didn't exist in the 90s. Does that make LeBron's greatness a lie? No. But it does mean we should be more critical, more thoughtful, more willing to question what we're being told. And maybe that's the most valuable thing T-Mac could have done here, not settling the debate, but reopening it, making us think, making us question, making us realize that the numbers might not lie, but the way we interpret them absolutely can. At the end of the day, legends speaking their truth, even when it's controversial, is what keeps basketball real. Whether you agree with T-Mac or think he crossed a line, one thing's for sure, the debate isn't ending anytime soon. So here's what I want to know. Is T-Mac speaking a truth nobody wants to hear, or is this just another legend letting jealousy cloud his judgment? Drop your honest take in the comments, and if you think LeBron should respond, let me know how you think he'd fire back. Are you Team T-Mac or Team LeBron? Let's settle this once and for all. If you want more unfiltered NBA drama, real debates, and the stories that shake the basketball world, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're just getting started. I'll catch you in the next one.